Welcome back to my channel. This is Josh. Now into this video I'm going to take you through the foundations of metasploit-framework. This is a sudo framework which is commonly used into the market of penetration testing. So now here we shall be able to perform enumeration to our system. We shall also perform post-exploitation. We shall cover our tracks in case you make a pen test. We shall do the pivoting where you hack one machine and you access also another machine. You also should be able to hide your tracks when you have hacked a machine. And also we may see here how we can exploit different services access to a machine. So now the picture before you, I downloaded it from internet, but don't worry, I'll be creating all the series under the Metasploit framework. So let's start. So now if you open up your terminal, we are going to go on and install Metasploit framework. So to install Metasploit framework, we are going to say sudo apt install Metasploit framework like this. So in case this isn't present within your system, you can just run this command. You can feel free to add on a -y so that you prompt with a yes, and if you press enter, your Metasploit framework is going to start right away. But primarily this framework comes installed within our Kali Linux, so we don't need to install this unless if you want to update your system again. So now to open up Metasploit framework or our Metasploit framework to work very well, we need to create up a database. Inside this database, this is where our files are going to be kept, and also in case you want to retrieve data from that database to create up our report of which we shall submit to our bosses, this would make it easier. So to set up a database, Metasploit framework uses a database called PostgreSQL. So here you are going to say sudo, we can use systemctl, then here we are going to start PostgreSQL like that and press enter. So here feel free to type in your password. So if you type in your password, let me type in my password again, it was wrong. So our database has been started. We can feel free to check its status. I'm going to use the same command, but instead of start, I'm going to just say status. Now if you try to see here, our database has been started. So now after starting your database, you need to initialize so that your database becomes active. Now to initialize your database, you're going to say msfdb, and you say init. Now if you press enter here, they say you should run this as sudo. So we are going to run this as sudo, and when you try to see, they say that our database has been started and it is configured within the system. So to open up your msfconsole, you are going to say msfconsole in your terminal. Then if you press enter, our shell will be opened up, or we shall be taken to the framework. In case this is your first time to open up msfconsole, your system will be a bit slow, but in case you always use it like me, you see that it is opening quite a bit faster. Also, in case your computer is slow, it is going to also take some time. Now in a few minutes we shall go to our framework. Now msfconsole is commonly used into the world of pen tests. Some people may choose to use different sudo frameworks, which include Havoc, Silver, and CobbleStrike to mass production. So but commonly msfconsole is used. As I showed you inside our picture here, we shall be able to perform the exploitation of different services that we do find on different machines. We shall do the post exploitation, we shall do the pivoting, we shall do the privilege escalation. Let's say you've hacked a machine and you are just a guest user, you want to be an administrator to a system. I'll be able to show you how to perform all of these attacks. This is the first video in my series of Metasploitable. So now when we come back here, our database has been started. We can feel free to check if the database is on. Now here also you can go on and say msfdb, and we can check for the status. Now if we press enter here, they say we should run this as root, but earlier we ran this command as root and our database was okay. So right now when you are working with a database, you need to create up what we call workspaces. Now here with workspaces, when I type a command of workspace and press enter, you see that I have one called Rio and I also have the default. Now for the default, primarily if you don't have new workspaces within your system, I know for you, since it's your first time, you're not going to have any workspace. Now here, this is where we can create up a workspace depending to the attack we are trying to create, of which it will be easier for us to check or store data inside that certain location. Now to create up a workspace, you're going to say workspace -a. Now let's say here we are trying to attack a web server, let's say for a certain company like Tesla. So here I can say Tesla, let's say it is our workspace. Now if I press enter, here you see that a workspace Tesla has been added to our system, and when I come back and run the same command of Tesla, you see that Tesla is here. We are no longer using default. Now if you are keen, you see that we have an asterisk here. An asterisk tells us that we are using this workspace. So now here in metasploit-framework, we can feel free, let's say if we want to use Nmap within our system, where all the scans that we shall be doing with Nmap, they will be kept inside our database. Now here we can use a command of db nmap, and we can also use other resource scripts so that we can proceed with our enumeration. So now here, if you want to delete up a workspace, now here we have Rio. So if you want to delete up a workspace, you can say workspace. Now for creating, it is a -a. Deleting, you're going to say a -d, and here we provide Rio as the workspace we want to delete. Now if I press enter, our space is going to be deleted from our system, and if we check again with our command of workspace, we shall see that Rio isn't present within our system. So now let's start with a simple Nmap script or Nmap scanning inside our system. Now here I'm going to go on firstly and scan my network. Let me open up a new terminal. Let me start up some simple services. Let me just say sudo system ctl startup ssh. Let me, instead of ssh, let me just start up a web server, which is Apache 2 web server. Then I provide my password. Let me also start up MySQL. MySQL. So I have started up two services here, a web server and MySQL. So I'm going to locally scan my machine. Now here, to scan up your machine with Metasploit, we are going to use Nmap, but to use Nmap inside our Metasploit here, you are going to say db_nmap. Now here we can feel free to use the tags for our Nmap. I'm going to use the SV for service versions, and also here I can add on the script. Now here, when I use vulns, so it means I want to scan for vulnerabilities within the services which are present to our machine. You can feel free to add on the OS scan in case you want to know the exact OS of the machine. So now here I can provide the IP of our machine. Sorry, of display lots of stuff here. Now here it is going to fail. Let me just stop this. I clear my terminal. I run this command again if I'm going to provide my IP. So in this case, let me just provide my loopback address, which is 127.0.0 and .1. So since I have two services which are running here, which is Apache and MySQL, if we press enter, all the scans that I will be receiving here, they will be saved inside our database. So now we have an error here inside our system, so I'm going to come back and fix this. So let me first delete everything. Let me delete the S from here, volume, press enter again. So we shall be able to scan up our network. Make sure it is script volume, not volumes. So we give it a couple of minutes, our network is going to be scanned. In case they do find vulnerabilities within our system, it is going to be also saved within our database. Then later, since this data is going to be kept within a database, we may retrieve back to check what we had scanned earlier. Alright, so now sorry, what you see before your screen, you see that we have port 80. It has been scanned and it has HTTP and the version of our Apache. They have went further and they have found some files onto our system. We have the log test.php, phpMyAdmin. Now if we come to our database running on port 3306, you see it is MySQL, and here we have a vulnerability. They say a script failure, and also we have other services. Now if we come to the operating system of a -O, this is a Linux OS. You see that all of our scans we've performed here, and also your PostgreSQL has been seen here. You see that all our services inside our system, they have been displayed here. So I'm going to go on and clear my terminal. If I want to see the services, I can just say services. If I press enter, you see that they list the IP, they list the ports, and also the services here. I can also say hosts, and they list the domain we've scanned. Now I can also say volume. If I want to list for the vulnerabilities, I can add on a S, and here they say we don't have vulnerabilities within our system. Now you see I've scanned up a network using msfconsole, and data has been saved inside our database. Now here we can also scan up, or we can do banner grabbing within our system, where we can do onto the TCP or the UDP. Now here it's all about using different modules or auxiliary modules. We can also perform exploits. Now Metasploit, or if you install Metasploit, does not come alone. It comes with what we call msfvenom. Now further, I'll show you how to create payloads using msfvenom. But here we have different payloads we can create up within our system. Now if you say msfvenom, now here you can feel free to say --help, so that you see different flags you can use to perform if you want to list more data onto your msfvenom. Now if you see here we have the payloads. Now in case I want to list for the payloads we can create up using the system, I'm going to say msfvenom. Here you're going to say --list payloads. So if we press enter, now here it takes some time. You can give it a couple of minutes. You see that payloads will be displayed within your system. But before we list also the payloads, we can also list the encoders. So I'm going to just go on and open up another terminal here to the right, and I'm going to also list for the encoders. So here I'm going to say msfvenom. To list for the encoders, I'm going to say list encoders. Now we can also list for the platforms. Now for platforms here, we are meaning the Windows, Linux, those machines where our payloads can work. Now let us give it some minutes and we shall see the payloads that can be created by the system. So for encoders, you see this idea that they have listed for encoders. We have the CMD, we have the generic, and also here we see we have the bits. We can produce out some bits for a 64-bit and also a 32-bit. But here, to wait for our payloads, it takes some time. So now here we have Shikata. Now in case you want to create up a payload and you don't want it to be detected by antiviruses, Shikata guy is one of the best encoders you can use to encode up your payload so that it cannot easily be attacked by or be seen by an antivirus. You can test this on VirusTotal, but remember, if you create up a payload and you post it on VirusTotal, they'll get a signature and they'll sell this signature to antivirus companies, where the next time you run this or you run this on your victim's machine, they will be able to know that this is a virus. So you see these are payloads. we have the platforms. Sorry, these are encoders. We have also the platforms. So now let's just wait for the payloads. So our payloads have been listed here. So now you see here we have Windows x64, VNC inject, reverse, HTTPS. So we have different payloads of which you can try to use to attack your victim's machine. There are many. So here I can just go on and close up this terminal so that I just remain with this of our MSF console, or we can just open up our MSF console. Let me just come here. MSF console, it is still opened. So in case you do have your Nmap, you've scanned your Nmap not inside our MSF console and you saved it as a .xml, you can also import that Nmap within the system. So now here I can go on and create up another workspace inside our MSF console, and I'm going to name this test. So let me change the spelling here. So a new workspace has been created. Let us check whether we are using that. We are using test. So in case you want to import an Nmap script of which you saved as a .xml, so when we come here to our shell, I have a file that I saved for the Nmap ending with a .xml. So here I'm going to just say ls. I want to list everything ending with .xml. So it is test underscore nmap.xml. So if you see here with test, when I say services, since I've not imported anything, we have nothing here. So to import our Nmap script, here you are going to say db underscore import. Now here you provide a path to your XML file. So that path here, now if you try to see it is in my parental directory, but I can just delete it right away. Let me just give a full path, which is /home. The user is greenet, and here on greenet it is test underscore nmap.xml. So if I press enter, they are going to import our Nmap. You see here it has been successfully imported within our script. Now this time when I say services, you're going to see that we have more data here, and if I say hosts, also the list our data. I don't know if we have vulnerabilities. When I say vuln, also we have vulnerabilities here within our system. Now if you see here we have the CVEs. Now for these CVEs you can also search for them. So thanks for watching my video. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, give a thumbs up so that this video can be shared to different users, and also feel free to leave your question into the comment section. I'll get back to you. So have a great day. Peace.